Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for the opportunity by HR 2020 committee. I'm glad to be here to present about my research. I am Ariani and Muhammad Salman as my supervisor. The title of my presentation is Intrusion Response System based on time management concept with the critical IP address as a parameter. Before I deliver the material from my research, I want to tell about the outline of my presentation. First is background, second is purpose, third is related work, fourth theory, fifth result and discussion, and the last conclusions and also references. The background of this research based on Indonesia condition, because in Indonesia intrusion growth continually every year. Even Indonesia have institutions who responsible to incident response, but the internet isn't yet clean even though action on the incident response already exists. From the diagram, we can see that intrusion more than 200 million. This data based on annually report by IDCRT BSSN, and also we can see that information leakage almost 2,000, and Indonesia become the destination country attack. And incident website more than 16,000, and the most domain of incident is .go.id. .go.id is government domain in Indonesia. And we can also see that malware activity almost half of the total intrusion. So the most of them have a high severity. Before I deliver about my research, I want to tell about to prevent threat to the network. There are several methods that can be used to survive. Sambi Shandy said in their paper, if defenses life cycle phases include 4 phases, there are prevention, it is to prevent the threat. Second is monitoring, to monitor and absence the threat. And third is detection, to detecting the threat through the network. And the last is mitigation, it is to reduce the threat. And the intrusion data previously from IDCRT, it is a process of detection which is needed response to mitigate it and to reduce threat. So we need respond to intrusion that occur. However, with this large amount of intrusion, response recommendation are needed so that the handling response can be done optimally. So in this research, we propose to the response strategy model with critical IP priority. A responder incident can prioritize which intrusion are handled earlier, because it is to give recommendation and consideration in making decision about what response shall be made to intrusion that occur on the internet network. Why we use IP address? Because IP address is core of internet, and it is so unique and different for each other. And also, IP address shows the owner of the server on the computer network. And the second question is, why we use critical sector as a parameter? because critical sector is part of important thing in our country. And also Indonesia government establishes institutions that have strategic electronic data. The regulation is Government Regulation number 71 2019 about operation of electronic system and transaction, which is the has it has to be addressed as the most important sector because it has a big impact on the country government. The critical sector are government administration, energy mineral, transportation, financial, health, information and communication technology, food sector, defense sector, and also other sector established by president. The last sector is depend on president. Main related work in this research we use from Anwar research in 2011, and they implement a strategy model for intrusion response based on time management concept with case study on the DARPA 2000 dataset and the Plymouth University dataset. What is response model time management concept? The response model is divided into 4 quadrants, such as the concept of time management by Stephen Covey. Here, Anwar divided 4 quadrants into 4 response that must be done to handle of an intrusion with critical and urgent criteria. The first quadrant is avoid, so it must be dealt with immediately because have a large impact. And the second is mitigation. It is to minimize the impact and reduce the risk score to a lower score. And third, transfer. It can be done by adding other tools such as the third party as a security, like a perimeter security. And the last is accept. In quadrant 4, we can accept the intrusion because it has no impact for our asset. The following is a design system for experiment where we use a snort-based intrusion dataset that has detected traffic for 1 month. Next, we correlate it with a national vulnerability database to get a score-based CVSS. It is to compare the result of the response comparison. We use 3 strategies. There are based on severity IDS from system, and the second is based on base matrix scoring CVSS, and the last also use CVSS based scoring metric, but we plus critical IP as a new parameter. And rating threshold here is used as a division of scala score to determine response. Dataset experiment use set contains 600 million intrusion without normal data. The signature name about malware, cryptocurrency, remote code, and the others. The signature based on rules in Snort. In accordance with the system design experiment, the following is an explanation of the 3 response strategy as a comparison. First is determination of response based on signature priority or snort priority, divided based on category. high for quadrant 1, medium for quadrant 2, low for quadrant 3, and information for quadrant 4. And the response based on base score matrix CVS divided into 4 types of range, and it divided by rating threshold. And the last is CVSS plus IP parameter divided into 4 types of rating threshold. But here we observing the value of the parameter criticality of the owner of the IP address. The figure shows a different amount of response in when we use NERP priority. We have to avoid intrusion almost 100%. In mitigate less than 1%, transfer less than 1%. But when we use CVS as base score metric, we only avoid 44%, but mitigate increase into 56% and transfer less than 1%. And the last result is by adding the critical IP, the amount of data response selection in quadrant 1 and also quadrant 2 increase due to the save and response the data in quadrant 3 on the critical IP address. The conclusion of our research is, even though the amount of intrusion leading to an IP is so large, and the most IP owners in critical sector can be handled first to avoid a greater impact. And by adding the critical IP parameters and use CVS as base metric, the amount of data response selection in quadrant 1 and quadrant 2 increase due to the save and response the data in quadrant 3 on the critical IP. This strategy can use for a big intrusion to mitigate it before have more impact. Yeah, our references. Thank you for the opportunity and thank you for your attention.